Hello, all you beautiful people. This is Intentional Healing, and I am Nicole Bridger. Today, I want to talk to you about how I feel that COVID-19 is a reflection of how right now is a time for the divine feminine. We have been in the divine masculine now for centuries, and there is a kind of uprooting to set things right, essentially, more as a collective energy. But we as individuals are a part of that collective. So before we begin, take a deep breath. Noticing where your thoughts and attention have been already scattered out there in your life. Calling all that energy back into you with a deep breath. And as you exhale, fully sinking into your seat, into this present moment, giving yourself this gift of focus and attention. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So when I'm talking about divine feminine and divine masculine, it's really important to understand that this is not about what gender you are. This is not about what gender you identify as. This is not saying one is good and one is bad. Often this conversation is construed as men are bad, women must rise. The truth is that we all have both the divine masculine and the divine feminine within us. I'm talking about the spiritual energies, the collective. And we have been governed as a collective by the divine masculine now for centuries. And we are ready now for a shift into the feminine. To say one is better or worse would be like saying yin is good and yang is bad. The truth is that we all have both yin and yang energy. Yin being the soft, yang being the action. And it's the harmony and the balance of those that creates peace, and even within yourself. Some people who identify as men are very connected to their feminine, divine feminine energy. And some people who identify as women can be very connected to their masculine divine energy. So just careful in this conversation to notice when things trigger you, and to lean into it with a sense of curiosity, asking yourself, ooh, that triggers me. I wonder what that's about for me. There's a gift there for you if you pause and lean into it with curiosity rather than allowing it to annoy you or trigger you or send you into resistance. So what do I mean by masculine and feminine? So masculine energy shows up in us as humans as linear thinking, action-oriented. It can be very black and white. It can show up as control, over-planning, sometimes anger or judgment. These are very strong masculine energies. Fear is definitely one. And when you look at the governance of our collective over the centuries past, you can see how we have had a very strong masculine approach. Very much about black and white, linear thinking. Even when you look at the medical system, or our governments or our powers or capitalism, our business structures have been very masculine in energy. A lot of abuse of power and power as a status, greed, and believing that others need to be put down in order for others to rise. This kind of energy, and I truly wholeheartedly believe that COVID is happening right now as a way to set things right. That energetically, something needed to happen to shake up the planet, the human race, because the direction that we were heading was not sustainable. Not sustainable for how we treat the planet, not sustainable for us as human beings in how we treat each other and how we relate to ourselves, and also to our divinity. And this was a way of shaking up the entire globe to set us to the right. And remember that contrast leads to clarity. The point of contrast is to lead to clarity. And while contrast, that's a word I used to, summarize anything that you're experiencing that doesn't feel good. And while going through contrast can be very uncomfortable, very painful, knowing that it's serving a greater purpose, in clarity, if we move through the contrast, if we allow the contrast to serve its purpose, on the other side is great clarity. And the size of the clarity is in direct relation to the size of the contrast. And this contrast is a big one. This COVID-19 is a big one that's bringing the entire focus of the globe together. And remember that wherever we place our focus is what grows. So we have a choice right now. Are we going to move about this from our divine masculine, from a place of fear, anger, judgment, control? Or is it time for us to use this to our benefit, to allow us to move into our divine feminine and shift how we come about this crisis? Shift how we live our daily lives. So the divine feminine, how that shows up in us humans, is with feelings of openness, trust, compassion, fluidity, being able to move with ease as changes arise, intuition and listening, inner guidance, love, tenderness, and a total surrender. Surrender to the divinity with just so much trust. And a much more dynamic way of thinking, a holistic approach. If you look at holistic medical systems, for example, that look at the whole picture rather than a very linear way of approaching. So this looks like, in business, win-win. When you rise, I rise. This looks like community, supporting one another. This looks like a sharing of the wealth, not a hoarding of it. Taking care of one another, being kind and respectful to each other, to the planet. The planet is our Mother Earth, and without her we cannot exist. So we must also respect, nourish, cherish our Mother Earth. So you can see how this incredible crisis that's happening right now, like never before on our planet, is calling us to shift our ways. It's saying how we have been going for centuries is not working, and we are not making the shift on our own. There have been, of course, attempts and people trying, but that collectively we must shift. So what I want to talk to you, and what I'm always about, is like, well, what does that mean for us practically? You know, I like to really balance spiritually what's going on with practically what does that mean for us in our day-to-day lives. We're still humans here, living this earthly experience, needing to know how to go about life in a practical kind of way. So what that looks like for you right now in your day-to-day is to check in. What energy are you coming from as you wash the dishes? Are you doing it from a place of love and gratitude, or from a place of resentment, anger? How are you going about homeschooling your children right now? Is it from a place of nurturing, of compassion, of inquiry, of support and patience? Or is it from a place of anger, fear, judgment? Feeling like the schools aren't doing enough? Or are you looking at this as an opportunity to connect more deeply with your child's learning? How are you going about your work? Whether this has forced you to work from home, which can be challenging. Have you been laid off? Are you facing bankruptcy? Are you really reaping benefit from the situation right now? There's a few businesses that are. And how are you going about that in your everyday? Again, is it from a place of fear, anger, jealousy? Or are you able to, in each moment, take a deep breath and step into the divine feminine? Whether you are a man, woman, gender fluid, this is about the divine feminine energy. Are you, in this time of crisis, able to take a deep breath and go about your work from a place of trust, taking it one day at a time, allowing for the myriad of feelings, supporting one another? How are you showing up for your community, for your family? Are you afraid that other people's fear might influence you? Or are you looking for ways to be of support, ways that you know that you can give? When we're in crisis, one of the best ways to step out is to be of service to others. It takes us from feeling so trapped and victim to our circumstance into being of service, connecting to the collective. So as you go about your day to day, where can you continue to take deep breaths and ask yourself, how can I bring that divine feminine? You may want to imagine what a symbol of divine feminine looks like for you. Perhaps an ethereal goddess of love. Perhaps just a beautiful white light of love. Maybe an angel. Maybe a grandmother that represents that energy for you. Anything that's going to help you shift the energy for you in the moment. You know, you're washing the dishes and feeling angry, feeling resentful that you are having to work from home and school the kids and do all the cleaning, and feeling afraid and resentful. In that moment of time, can you take a deep breath and ask that divine feminine, whatever your version of her is, to enter you, to calm you, to help you see the moment of love, to be grateful to have a family to clean dishes for, to be grateful to have a space that you can call home and feel safe in. Love for the food and nourishment. Trusting that you have all that you need, that you can move through this time with grace and ease. Ask for support. Ask for support from loved ones. Ask for support from your divine guides, divine wisdom that's supporting you always. Ask for this support and guidance. Soften. Open. Open your intuition. See the way forward for you from this place of love. Because the truth is that even women, and women who see themselves as great feminists, can come about this time from masculine energy. We cannot win hate with hate, fear with fear, judgment with judgment. The only way that we can truly shift the masculine paradigm that we're currently in is to actually shift ourselves into a feminine, divine feminine paradigm first. It's like telling your kid to eat their veggies when you're not eating your veggies. How can we tell the masculine world to be more feminine when we're coming at it from a masculine place, a place of fear, judgment, control? You see it all the time. We must first learn how to step into our own divine feminine and lead from that place. Show that you already know the way. Know what that feels like. I think that's one place where feminists have not quite got it right, is that we've been trying to lead the feminist movement from a masculine energy. And of course that's not going to bring the shift that we truly desire. So I hope that that makes sense for you guys, that you're able to see the bigger picture, see beyond your own experience, and see the collective that you are a part of, and how you can play a role in this shifting into a beautiful place. Please reach out with questions. NicoleBridger.com. Nicole Bridger is my Instagram. And I wish you a blessed, blessed day.